Let's go ahead and settle in for some meditation practice. Using whichever method you find most effective, please allow both your physical body and your mind to start to settle and rest, to become quiet and still. Now is not the time to reflect on events that have occurred in the past. Those events cannot be changed, undone, or relived. Nor is this the time to speculate about events that may or may not occur in the future. The future is completely uncertain. Now is the time to be fully present here in this moment. Now is the time to give yourself permission to enjoy engaging in a practice that's going to bring you a peaceful state of mind and at the same time contribute to the creation of a peaceful world. And with that, I'd like you to please begin your practice of central channel yoga, allowing your energy winds, also known as prana, also known as chi. Allow your energy winds to travel the length of your central channel, mounted upon your breath. On your inhalation, please allow your energy winds to travel down to the level of your navel chakra, and on the exhalation up to the level of your throat chakra. Inhalation back down to the navel chakra, and repeat this pattern for a moment or two. very gently and very gradually allow your winds to start to move in toward your heart chakra, which is, of course, located at the center of your chest, which, of course, is the seat of your innate love and compassion, the true nature of who you are. And finally, just allow your awareness to rest at the center of your heart chakra, located in your central channel. No doing is required on your part. Nothing needs to be added. All that is asked of you is to rest and become familiar with your true nature. No expectation of an outcome. Please resume your practice of central channel yoga, allowing your winds to move between the navel chakra and your throat chakra, mounted upon the breath. Mounted upon the breath, allow your energy winds to travel the entire length of your central channel, thus allowing your consciousness to become less absorbed. Please become aware again of your physical body, allowing your breathing to become less shallow. Become aware again of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of your body. Become aware again of your surroundings inside the room that you are occupying. Become aware again of the world that exists outside of the room that you're occupying. We dedicate all of the merit from this morning's meditation and Dharma talk to world peace. May all beings, without exception, be completely and permanently free from all forms of emotional and physical suffering. May all beings, without exception, be happy, peaceful, contented, and free. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Welcome back, everyone. So, we are continuing our discussion of the perfection of moral discipline. And in this morning in particular, we're going to discuss the moral discipline of restraint. Refreshing your memory, kind of going all the way back, we are going through the 6 perfections, also known as the 6 paramitas, the 6 perfections, which are the practices of the Bodhisattva. We have already gone through the first perfection of giving. Now we're venturing into the perfection of moral discipline, of which there are 3 parts: the moral discipline of restraint, the moral discipline of gathering virtuous dharmas, and the moral discipline of benefiting sentient beings. I'd like to read just a little bit from Joyful Path of Good Fortune, where the moral discipline, actually, all of the sutras are addressed in great length. This is a If you find yourself being interested in the sutras, the teachings of the Buddha that were made available to the general public, you may consider acquiring a copy of Joyful Path of Good Fortune. So under the moral discipline of restraint, Geshe Kelsang Gyatso writes, this is the moral discipline of abstaining from non-virtue. To practice this moral discipline, we need to understand the dangers of committing negative actions, make a promise or vow to abandon them, and then keep that promise or vow. Thus, we cannot be said to be practicing the moral discipline of restraint if we unknowingly avoid committing negative actions, since even babies can do this. Any spiritual discipline, so in other words, there needs to be the intention. The intention needs to be present for us to abstain from non-virtuous actions in order for it to be the practice of this paramita. Just sort of by randomly, almost accidentally, without even having an intention, abstaining from non-virtue doesn't constitute the practice of abstaining or the moral discipline of restraint. Any spiritual discipline that avoids or overcomes either mental faults or negative actions of body or speech is included within the moral discipline of restraint. And that's gratifying for me. The part where Geshe Kelsang says any spiritual discipline that avoids or overcomes these mental faults or negative actions of body, speech, and mind. That's to say that Buddhism doesn't claim to have a monopoly on the practice of moral discipline. Any spiritual practice that aspires to avoid or overcome these mental faults constitutes the practice of moral discipline. So we're kind of all members of one big spiritual community, kind of know us and them, know better than or worse than. If we aspire to overcome and have the intention to overcome negative actions of body, speech, and mind, then we're all engaging in the moral discipline of restraint. It's not necessary to take vows in front of our spiritual guide to be practicing the moral discipline of restraint. We can take this vow or these pledges or set this intention by ourselves, by recognizing the consequences of the actions we want to abandon and promising to refrain from them for whatever length of time we can. When we make a promise or take a vow, we should be skillful in determining for how long we undertake to observe it. Even if we promise to refrain, notice the difference between refrain and abstain. If we promise to refrain from just one negative action for only a short time, for example, if we promise to abandon only killing for just 1 week, and we keep that promise, we are practicing the moral discipline of restraint. However, as our capacity increases, we should gradually extend the duration of our restraint and also promise to abandon other non-virtuous actions. So let's get into some of these actions that we are perhaps hopefully going to aspire to restrain or refrain from, or sorry, abstain or refrain from. And we'll start with the three. I just sent you a chat in the chat box, the three non-virtuous actions of body, the three bodily non-virtuous actions that are listed as part of the 10 non-virtuous actions that we should try to abstain or refrain from. The three bodily actions being, non-virtuous bodily actions being killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. So let's go into the non-virtuous action of killing. I would imagine that I'm quite sure that all of the people on this call, for all the people on this call, abstaining from killing other human beings doesn't require a lot of effort. Our, you know, sometimes we might get frustrated with people and kind of a line starts to appear, but I have a feeling that we're all pretty much able to abstain from killing other human beings. But sort of other sentient beings, it might that might present a little bit more of a challenge or a contemplation. Insects, for example. We're in a small town, and it doesn't really matter if we're in a small town or a big city. Insects come into our homes, and question becomes, what do we do with those insects that come into our home, right? This is my home. Insects should not be in my home. It's mine and not yours. Duality can kind of creep in. The dualistic view can kind of creep in anywhere, anytime. Maybe especially around Lotus Center, I find that there are these little black, it's kind of a seasonal thing, right? Have you noticed that there's a seasonal propensity for certain insects to come into our dwellings and our homes? There are, this time of year around Lotus Center, there are a lot of these black beetles that have made their way into the building, and I have this little technique of like covering them up with a bowl, slipping a sheet of paper under the bowl, right? This method, and then you kind of take it outside and liberate the beetle being outside. Same with spiders. As it starts to turn cold, the spiders are looking for warmth, right? I don't know the minds of spiders, but I'm assuming that there is a correlation between the colder weather coming on and spiders kind of making their way into my home and to Lotus Center here, kind of replacing them or transporting them back outside is a much better alternative than killing them, which I used to do before I started contemplating and learned about the consequences of killing even insects. I learned, you guys, about kind of a next level way of abstaining from killing just this weekend. In fact, a friend of mine abstains from killing mosquitoes by capturing them in a glass jar, like covering up the end of the jar, taking the jar outside, taking the cover off, and liberating the mosquitoes. Mosquitoes for most of the year aren't a thing in Southwest New Mexico, but with this rainy season coming on, it's been, there, at least in my world, there's been a lot more mosquitoes than usual. And my friend actually transports the mosquitoes and puts them outside. Pretty impressive to my way of thinking. And it's a practice that I'm going to adopt rather than kind of what I do, just like gently waving and then hoping that they stop bothering me. Yeah. Kind of wanting things to be other than what they are, right? It's kind of the definition of non-acceptance. But anyways, what I think is a really important consideration for all of this is getting back to the intention for our abstaining from killing insects, right? Just for the beetles, for relocating the beetles that come into Lotus Center, these black beetles. I mean, the intention can be, I'm going to relocate this black beetle because it's a better alternative than killing. That's my intention for doing this. And that's a worthwhile, meaningful intention, right? Kind of perhaps a less meaningful intention is, I don't want black beetles in my house. This is my house and I don't want black beetles here. They need to get out. So I'm going to get out the bowl and the piece of paper and all the rest and get them out of here because I don't want them in my house. Again, kind of like maybe based in non-acceptance, kind of the intention is, I don't want to be inconvenienced by black beetles. This is my house, not yours, the dualistic thing. Another intention might be, I think the black beetle will be happier outside. Yeah, it's kind of, there's nothing here in Lotus Center that's going to be of any interest to the black beetle. There's a lot more appealing food. I don't know what black beetles eat, but I'm sure there's nothing here in Lotus Center that would appeal to them. I'm going to relocate them outside because I think they're going to be happier out there. They'll be able to interact with other black beetles, more food offerings, more fresh air, right? All roads lead to intention with these practices. So in your practice of abstaining or refraining from killing insects, might be worthwhile for us to check in for our intention of abstaining or refraining from killing. So a little bit more to share on this topic that we'll cover on Friday's class. One last thing before I let you guys go. You may be aware that here at Lotus Center, we're on South Broadway. Across the street, a smoke shop opened, a commercial smoke shop right across the street from Lotus Center. And it's created a little bit of a hubbub around here. I've talked to some friends, some patrons of Lotus Center who say things like, it's sacrilege that a smoke shop would open directly across the street from Lotus Center. How can this be? I'm going to invite you to contemplate this development over the course of the week. What do you think about a smoke shop opening across the street from Lotus Center? Is that a bad thing? Is it a good thing? If so, why? And we'll talk about this a little bit on Friday as well. Thank you for being here. Have a lovely day and a lovely week.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Bye.
You're most welcome. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jeff.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Roberta.
Bye, Tina.